Welcome back, everybody, to another Two Tamers Talk. I got Basil with me again.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Shout out to Jeff and Justin for last week. That was an awesome episode.
And as someone said in the comments, we need Basil.
Basil, yes.
So,
got to turn
sorry,
you into a
everyone. My name starts with the letter B.
Big disappointment.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. But how are you, man?
Good. Good. We're into post-ban BT15, and what a glorious and slightly bizarre format we found ourselves in.
We are here, yeah.
It's exactly what we expected in that things that are winning are very, very interesting. Some we knew was going to happen, and a lot of others we did not. So.
Yeah, so you're fresh out of the first regional for North America.
Yeah, the core TCG, shouts to core.
Post-ban,
and it was the Wild West as anticipated.
Yep. So why don't you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, an underwhelming performance for me. I went X3, good enough for 65th. So one placing away from that extra EP6. Go figure.
And those are going for
some of those
pretty
cards,
penny right now.
Some of those cards are pretty sought after, and some of them are Dark Nightmon. Go figure. But it was fun. The reason I'm not normally I'm like really want to perform at these regionals. The reason that I'm not feeling that way is because it was such a breath of fresh air after the Apocalypse Ultimate Cup.
Oh, yeah.
So I
brought the palate cleanser.
Yeah, it was a palate cleanser. I brought Machinedramon.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to get a chance to play Machinedramon at these regionals for a while because, for those of you who don't know, it was the prospective matchups for this tournament was very red and very purple.
Yeah.
And I think Machinedramon fares very well into those matchups. And so I said, let's bring Machine and see what happens. But I went X and 3. As predicted, a lot of matchups were purple.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any red hybrids,
which is
or
wild.
gray, or anything red in any of my matchups. And normally at a regional, if I dodged red hybrid, that's really good.
Yeah.
But Machinedramon does obviously really well into red hybrids.
Yeah.
And so not seeing it was sort of the disappointment of the tournament.
And that was kind of the one you really expected to see because that's the one
I think
survived the ban, didn't touch it, didn't get touched.
Is the strongest deck at nationals that wasn't restricted. I mean, it was even strong enough that it was doing well versus Apocalypse and Anubis.
Yeah.
So I predicted it a lot. I think its matchup into Numemon is good. I think its matchup into Leviathan is good. And so I was thinking, people are for sure going to play red hybrids. This is the best time to play Machinedramon.
And they did, to be fair.
And they did, just not against me.
Just not against you.
Which may be a function of my sort of early stumblings in the tournament. But we'll talk about I'll talk about the matchups real quick.
Sure.
Round 1 was Blue Flare. Which again, it just sort of speaks to the Wild West nature of the tournament.
That's a tough matchup for Blue Flare too, because you play one body.
Yes, it was a long 2-0. The game one I was digging. I had 3 analog men and no Chaosdramons. And so I had to hard evo into Machinedramon, and I was just trading blocks back and forth and then he was beating over it with WarGreymon because it's 11K as well.
Yeah.
And then he was trading into it. Went to a long match, but I ended up winning that. And then round 2 was Minervamon. So even more of the Wild West. And when he flipped Suno and then went Gobbly Ogre, I was like, okay, yeah, this is probably Leviathan of some kind. And then he went on his next turn. He went Lady Devi into
and your mind starts moving
into Minervamon, into Minervamon, and I was like, okay, that's brave.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we're playing Digimon by effects with no protection. Yeah. So we're just gonna get crushed by Leviathan.
Yeah.
But I talked to him in between rounds. He's like, this is sort of old reliable when I don't know what to play, and I've played it a lot. So I was like, yeah. for sure.
Similar
And
strategy
in my
for
mind,
you.
I'm thinking this is really hard for you because I'm playing Machinedramon.
Yeah.
I up to 3 hover Espimons in preparation for the Leviamon matchup.
Yep.
And game 1, I it was fun. I appreciate players like this. Basically, he promoted and did some damage. I had 1 or 2 security left, or maybe even more than that. And I promoted, went into Chaosdramon and Chaos X in the same turn.
Oof.
And he had 5 security and he scooped.
Oh.
And he's just like, this is going to be a slow and painful death. Let's just go to the next game.
Gotcha.
And then in the next game, he ran me down before I could set anything up. And then game 3, he had the absolute nuts. And I remember this turn so vividly because it was so strong from him. He had turn 1 Goblimon Analog Youth. He had turn 2. He had 2 memory. He had level 4 into level 5, and then turn 3 he killed me. He had Minervamon, back for revenge, swing. It died on deletion. Played out Mervamon, 2 rushers, and the Minervamon. Minervamon swung. It died. Played out another retaliation unit and swung 4 more times and killed me.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, because he was taking a long time thinking on his 3rd turn. And we had like 10 minutes left in round or something.
He's thinking of that combo.
And he's like, sorry, I'm taking so long. And I was like, no, you're good. We have plenty of time. He's like, yeah, I think I have lethal.
and
I
you're
was like,
how?
I was like, because I was thinking to myself, like, okay, Minerva swing. Because I was still in the mindset of like Cerberusmon and Werewolf mode, and he wasn't playing those at all.
Yeah.
He was just playing, and I didn't calculate properly extra Jack raids and then back for revenge, which is fine. I mean,
and in your list, he'd have to hit like Attack of the Heavy Mobile.
So we were talking about it afterwards because I was like, I did not expect 6 swings there, and he's like, well, to be fair, the living and dying sequence of the attacks had to be exactly as it was.
Yeah.
But I had to go for it that turn because next turn I would have been up into Chaosdramon.
Yeah.
And his game would have been doomed from there. So he made the right call and executed it perfectly and ended up winning that. So I was 1-1 into the next round. I played against Leviamon. And
That's what you're waiting for.
Yeah, this is what I was expecting, and it's not even like I teched hard against Leviamon, and it's still hard.
Yeah.
That's just a testament to how good the deck is, especially because the Leviamon X can delete Analog Man.
Yeah.
And so if we aren't into double Analog Man or Analog Man Marvin Jackson, then our Hover Espimon is turned off, which was what lost me my games versus Leviamon on the day. But I was able to win that one. Player overextended a little bit. And if you overextend into a Chaosdramon, then you get taken down to your level 3. He was playing the Garuru base.
Oh, okay.
And then from
For that
there,
heavy draw.
From there, he couldn't recover because once you're into 2 Digimon, and one of them is a Hover Espimon, it's really hard for a Leviamon player to out that. So that was good.
Yep.
Round 4 was security control.
Hey.
And I... The player who played against me, I don't know if you're watching, but shout outs to you. He said, I recognize you from the channel and you're pretty good versus my deck, I've heard.
Oh no.
And so we had a quick 2-0 there. Which
using
was nice.
the same strategies
Using the
outlined
same
in the video.
Yes, shout outs to everyone who commented on the security control tutorial video. Especially heck's his name? Something of 4.
Shape of 4.
Shape of 4. A very insightful comment.
Longtime fan of the channel.
A longtime
so shout
fan
out to you.
that we will use in our upcoming how-to videos as soon as we come up with something.
Yeah.
But yeah, very great success there. I was happy to see. So I'm 3-1 going into round 5, feeling good.
Yep.
And round 5 was Blue Flare again.
Really?
And
that
I was,
late into the tournament.
Yes,
Interesting.
And I was thinking, perfect. Another strong matchup. Round, I ended up losing this round.
Oh.
Just couldn't find Analog Man in time. No Tamers in security, so you have to play him out. And then he was using the more of the Duo Tamer and then the Supreme Connection.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's very offensive.
So going very fast.
Yeah. So if sort of calculating like, damn, there's going to be a certain point where I run out of time. And so I ended up losing that one.
So you're X2.
So I'm X2, and then the round after that was security control again.
Oh, you hit it twice.
Yes, and
that's almost better than red hybrids.
Yeah,
for
that
you.
one was super far into time. Ended up taking it on my last turn possible, which was nice. So sort of being able to play quickly into security control helped me there. The next round after that was Numemon, which was the deck that I think my list countered the hardest, because if I am into a hover SBmon with a Tamer, they cannot OTK.
Yeah.
And the strength of that being, obviously, it can control the board very hard with Hell WarGreymon.
Yeah.
And then there, it's very easy to get 5 check swing for game. It went to game 3, and on game 3, he didn't find edgy quick enough.
Yeah.
And then I was into Chaos X, and the game is lost from there. So that was good. And then in the last round, it was another Leviamon, and it was a 2-0 beatdown. He got into Leviamon X very quickly both games, turned off my analog man, and there was no coming back from that.
Yeah.
So next 3 performance, the only thing else I have to say about the tournament besides how happy I was to be playing Machine Dramon, is it really speaks to, in this instance, the strength of playing on a comfort pick. So there's 3 plays that I want to isolate as things that really only deck specialists would sort of come up with in the moment.
Okay.
The first was against the Minervamon player. We had seen a Death Xmon out of either an Analog Youth or a Purple Boost or something.
Sure.
And so on his first deletion of my Chaos Dramon, I stripped the top source of the Chaos Dramon and left the 2, even though it was a source that I wanted, so that he went into Death X. It de-evoed to a Hover SBmon and lived.
There you go. Big
So
brain,
that was huge. The second one, against the Blue Flare player that I lost versus, I hard played a Machine Dramon and put the Andromon blocker source as bottom source.
Yeah.
So that when he Sauride, it stripped the top 4 and left the Machine Dramon as a blocker. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about was against the second security control player.
Sure.
Where I had gone into Hover SBmon 3 times that game, and I knew what his back 3 security were, and was able to play around it really well.
Gotcha.
And so the lesson I want the viewers to take, and even myself to take from this tournament, is comfort picks really pay off.
Yeah.
Because some of those minute different plays you make give you a slightly better win % chance on the aggregate, and then that can be the difference between a top and not. And so,
speaking of minute changes, you did make another change that I've been harping in your ear for a little bit about.
Yeah, I don't know why I was so hung up on
you laughed at me.
The Metal Tyrannomon versus the starter deck Rapidmon.
Yeah,
because I kept reading the card
because it
and
says
it kept
Green
saying
Tamer
Green
on it.
Tamer and Green Tamer. I was like, Jesse, we don't play this card. But when you stop thinking about it so hard and you think about it, a 4-cost Evo, D-Digivolve 1, inheritable trash security. It's like, so I went to 1 and 1.
So you could tuck both at the same time.
Which was very important in my security control matchups, going into Chaos Dramon, tucking both of them, killing a Magna Andromon, and trashing 2.
Yeah.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
Which is another lesson that I even preach is just try it.
Just try it.
Just try
Give it
it.
a shot. Give it a shot.
But it was an amazing tournament, super fun. It went by like that. Playing a deck that you truly love versus playing a deck that is strong is a huge difference maker in how the vibe of the tournament is.
For sure. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad we you got your first one out of the way, and we got to kind of see. I was wondering, honestly, how much security control we were going to see, because
I knew it was going to be
when it
heavy.
wins Worlds, you're like, oh man,
yeah, people are going to play it.
Are they going to play that, or you're going to see like everyone's going to play red hybrids because they think everyone's going to be playing?
Yeah. Well, all I can say is that with this tournament in the rear view, Justin and I are getting back on our sweaty stuff. So our first project is getting Ruby updated.
Okay.
Black WarGreymon OTK, because we still believe in that deck.
I think it's good.
So
for
that's
sure.
that's gonna be our next project.
Awesome. Well, we should probably talk about the winners of said tournament, right?
Yeah, believe it or not, I didn't see red hybrids all day,
but it took
it took the tournament.
It took it,
yeah.
And what a list!
I do not say this lightly. I think this is as good as red hybrids lists.
I agree. I think this is just when you think about red hybrids, you think fast and deadly.
Put the good cards in at 4 and go from there.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I love to see 4 Ukomon. I've been obvious. I mean, if you've seen any deck profile, I'm a huge proponent of the card.
Yeah.
3 Gravity Crush. I've been thinking highly of that card for a long time.
Yeah.
Down to 2. I mean, you only have room for 2 Atomic Inferno, but that's really all. You only really need to see 1.
Yeah.
You don't even really need to see 1 every game.
It just ensures that you just instantly win if they hit it in security,
and then,
essentially.
And then Crimson Blaze and Crimson Blaze, and I don't know how obviously you love Crimson Blaze.
I like it a lot.
Crimson Blaze very well may be the strongest card not on the banned and restricted list.
It could be. I agree.
It's up there. I mean,
secondary effect.
This card is brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to get floodgate effects on cards that aren't rookies. And if you think about cards that have a floodgate effect, Crimson Blaze, Quartzmon, Ruin Mode, Venusmon.
Crimson Blaze would still be strong, and we'd still be having this conversation if it played for 6 every time.
Yes.
And the fact that it doesn't always, it never plays for 6.
Well. No.
Never plays for 6.
No. This list is airtight. I think you could take this list probably to BT 18 and do well.
Yeah, I agree.
With no changes. I mean, these cards are ridiculous. I have thought this for a while, that I don't think red hybrids is going to get restricted directly.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
The only way that it's going to get restricted is Gravity Crush and Ukomon.
Yeah.
But take full advantage while you can.
That's the other part of this deck too. Is its barrier for entry is very, very low. There's no Death X's. There's no Ruin modes. It's a cheap deck. Well, I mean, essentially, it's a pretty budget. I mean, your Ukos are probably around like $8 or $9.
Yeah, Ukos are about somewhere in the $5 to $10 range.
But I mean, your level 7 has been reprinted all to hell.
I think the Emperor Greymon was BT 12. I think some of the SRs in that set were pretty expensive. But again, when we're saying expensive, I think it's like a $5 card.
Yeah, in perspective to security control where you need Death X.
Death X is more expensive than this entire deck.
Yeah, and Ruin Mode.
Yeah,
so take that with a grain of salt. I mean, if you're talking about, this is a deck that I recommend to new players. It has if you want to compete,
swing
right out of the gate.
Right.
Let's play this.
Play your Takuya and then attack them until they die or you lose. And
they
then
hit
do
Atomic
it again.
Inferno, you win.
Yes, for sure.
So that got first. We'll jump into second. This is awesome too. Like we were talking about. We already talked about it, but what an awesome menagerie of decks.
Yes.
In the top.
So Mill Loop. This is a deck that I am a very big proponent of.
Yeah.
Basically because I believe that the abuse of the memory gauge and decks that can do that in a proficient way are some of the best decks going.
Mm-hmm.
And so this deck is piloted by a Canadian player named Alex, who Justin and I have befriended for our love of zero-cost memory options.
Yeah.
We were talking about Mill Loop and the meta, and because this is something that I have built and have in my back pocket at all times, because I think that decks like this, Mervacross and Ruby, are decks that can pop off at a moment's notice.
Sure.
Because your opponent for a second thinks to take the memory floodgates out of their deck, and they're going to get heavily punished by this. And so we were talking, and he's like, yeah, I feel strongly that this deck can compete into a lot of decks. Besides Red Hybrid.
Yeah.
Red Hybrid is very problematic for this deck because it's just fast.
Well, and then it turns off the options too, so they're not going to get those memory boosts out of security.
Yes.
To set up that big turn to clap back.
But things that I want to note, the first is ADR02 Searcher.
That's the one I think that probably pops out at most people.
People probably look at this and think, why are we playing this?
Can't swing a player.
The answer is it's a one to play, draw one.
Yep.
It is a no-level Digimon, which is important for your purple matchup, obviously. And then the common line with this deck is go into WarGreymon to play out Gallantmon, and then use the Alice effect to go into Lilithmon for 0.
Sure.
So that's sort of how people have been doing it. Alex had the foresight to put an ADR Searcher to go into Lilith using the Alice effect to kill the Searcher, saving the Gallantmon so that you can go, open up a couple of different lines. The biggest one is then to play the Rush Gallantmon off of the WarGreymon, calling the Lilith, and then go up the line on the Rush Gallantmon into the Creepymon, and then swing there. So it's a way to
That's a crazy line.
It's a way to get extra mills off of your stack. Because Creepymon at the end of the day is going to swing in mill 9.
Yeah.
But if you do it this way, then you can go Gallantmon into Black Growl mill 2 more, WarGreymon mill 3 more, and then Creepy mill 9 more.
This is a very skill expressive mill.
Yeah, so you're
going to
get your mill range with the Searcher in hand goes from 9 to 14.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
And it's also worth noting that your friend Alex didn't lose a game. He went 7-0-1. He tied one game.
He tied round 2 versus Rycrop playing security control.
Oh, really? Okay,
which is a fun little meeting, little clash of worlds there.
Interesting.
But it's just sick. This is a list that that people would not have on their radar as meta threats. But I strongly encourage players to think about this, Ruby, and any deck that abuses zero-cost memory options as something that can always take over when memory floodgates fall out of favor. Which the purple decks that were normally playing Gazimon are now playing strictly Garurumons. The only black deck in the meta is Machine Dramon, and it doesn't have room for Chumons
Not
these
even
days.
close, yeah.
And then the Numemon strategy does play those memory floodgate Chumons, but the benefit to this deck versus other memory abuse decks is that Black Growlmon, when digivolving, deletes a 3K, if not mill 2. So it's sort of like a reverse fireball effect.
You're popping the floods.
So you're plopping those floodgates on the way up. So it's a great list, and shout-outs to Alex.
Yeah, the thing I took away from this is just like, what a crazy security. I mean, this is almost like security control in mill, because you're either going to lose turn with the Jack Raids, or you're just going to set them up for a huge turn.
You're going to set them up with a ton of memory, or you're going to hit Deathslinger or Rivals Barrage and die. So that's tough.
Yeah. Wow, it's an awesome list. Awesome list.
Yep.
Then we go jump to third, and we talked about this last time we were on the pod. Like, we're like, WarGrey could easily sneak in.
So the reason that I think WarGrey is so strong in this format, and again, it was something that I was like, I should just play WarGrey.
Yeah.
I put it back together. I had it on me, and I didn't have the foresight to build it this way.
Yeah.
So this is not WarGrey Toolbox.
No.
This is WarGreymon. And there's a video from this person on YouTube that you can find. This is an OTK deck.
Yeah, you're going
we're
one big
looking,
turn. Yeah.
and it's such a good meta call because what decks are doing right now is playing Digimon.
Yeah.
So this is an unsuspended Leviamon, numerous unsuspended Numemons, whatever the case may be. That turns on BT12 WarGrey
like crazy
for 3 checks unsuspend, 3 checks unsuspend, Blitz Omni.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very strong list in that regard.
Hades Force is strong in any format.
Hades, Crimson Blaze and Hades Force. I was talking about, because Nito was talking about this deck as well. And we were like, how to decide Crimson Blaze versus Hades Force.
Play both.
And play both, yeah. And so it's once you're into, obviously, that BT12 WarGrey, Hades Force is going to wipe their board of Tamers and Digimon, which is quite good.
Yuya is going to help you in the SetCon matchup.
Yeah, Yuya's, well, and even versus Leviamon, right? They're playing probably 3 or 4 of each, Biting Crush and Seventh Lightning.
Yeah.
And so it's a good call, and opting for that 3-cost tie from BT14, that take a card out of security, gain a memory, and then gain that 2K, because at the end of the day, you are WarGrey and you're gonna have a lot of DP, But there's a lot of high DP Digimon running around these days.
True.
Even the Numemon deck is playing a lot in the level 7 slot. Leviamon has big DP. So little extra DP never hurt nobody.
And last but not least, we have 4th place.
Yeah, Numemon.
This is a toolbox deck for sure.
This is a very interesting take on Numemon.
Yeah.
So
playing the aforementioned Chumons.
It's sort of one of those things where it's like you look at it, and normally there's something that jumps out at you, like that ADR searcher. There's about 4 cards that jump out to you right off the bat. The first is Black Agumon X, which searches 3 for a Black Tamer and an X antibody card.
Yeah.
So it can grab your Satsuki as well as your Monzemon and Numemon X's, which is interesting.
Yeah. But Numemon X is clearly like the strongest card in the deck, so you want to see it.
Very, very good. That structure deck Agumon, I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Memory Floodgates, I think, are really strong this format. Ukomon, nothing else to say. And then a bunch of Numemons. It's a pretty standard lineup in the level 5 and level 4.
Yeah.
But then once you get to those megas, Quantumon. So that's fascinating.
It's good for the SetCon.
Quantumon is a card that I think very highly of. I've been playing it in Bloomlord.
I think it's one that people are sleeping on.
I agree. That
remember when it came out, we're like, oh, this is going to be like a $60 card.
It's going to be hard to get because there's 3 secret rares, and one of them is banned, and the other one is hard to find room for in its own strategy. So I thought it was going to be the more expensive one. I expect this card to climb.
I do too.
As well as then Quartzmon and the Merciful Mode.
Merciful Mode's a strategy we thought would kind of fade out after the ban list.
Yeah, but obviously...
people really want those Levy X's back on the bottom.
It's like, if they have double Biting Crush and then you go into Merciful Mode... then you put their Leviamons at the bottom of their deck. They basically have 2 delay options that do nothing.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice. And then the last thing is Cool Boy.
Cool Boy.
Cool Boy. And it's like, duh. It's an X antibody deck.
Yeah.
Throw in Cool Boy. Pretty interesting stuff. The Numemon deck is one that I really think that it's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
As long as Ukomon is on the able to be played at 4. Because of things like this, it can go in so many different ways.
Yeah.
We've seen Venusmon in the list. We've seen Death X and Ruin Mode in the list, obviously. We've seen just about every black rookie in the game. And now we're even starting to see different colors as bases.
Yeah.
So people are playing red base, as we saw in EU, with the Muchomon and Guiomon draw engine. Some people are messing around with the purple base.
Yeah.
With structure deck Gabus and stuff like that.
I think a bigger part, too, of what makes the Ukomon so strong is the fact that they're just giving us stronger eggs that are so generic. Like, I don't know what's scarier, an Ukomon on top of the Sunamon that draws you a bunch of cards and gains memory when you promote, when you digivolve a different Digimon. You know, it's like that's a static buff that just sits there and is amazing. That or on top of the new Koromon that just gains you memory every time you hit a security.
Yeah.
Like, you have to deal with these cards.
Yes.
These kind of remind me of like old like Bokomon on the board. Like you have to deal with it. Take care of it because it's just gonna kill you.
Yeah, so this is sort of the idea with this deck is, you know, throw in all your Numemons and all your Monzemons, and then the top end and the bottom end can change, which not a lot of decks can say that, which is very cool.
So we have one more because we've had a total. So we've had one in the U.S. and then there was one more tournament.
Yes,
in this new format we've landed in, and it was, when we're talking Wild West, we're only going to talk about the winner.
Yes,
but we got to talk about
what a winner it was.
What a winner it is! Gallantmon taking
from the
EU.
Depths. So Gallantmon,
EU, right? Was it EU or Oceania?
This is EU. Yeah, this is EU. Gallantmon, the loyal Basil fans will know that I hate this deck.
Yeah.
I think very low of it.
Yeah.
And a week ago, I would have said for good reason. Right. It has the same problem that tier 3 green decks have.
As a competitive deck, not a chip on your shoulder deck. Just as a competitive deck.
I think it's weak. I should say.
Not like a Jeff and Jessmon kind of situation.
No.
Yeah, this is just a.
I think it's
as a competitive player, it just hasn't found a spot
And so the reason that decks like Dire Bitmon and Grandis post-restriction don't succeed is because let's say our opponent is not playing Digimon out.
Yeah.
What does our deck do? And the answer is nothing.
Yeah.
So Gallantmon had that struggle for a long time where it had stuff that says delete a blank. If it didn't delete a blank, gain effect.
Yeah.
And those effects were not strong enough to justify playing it.
Yeah.
Or
they were too slow of a strategy and they relied on your opponent having a bunch of cards in trash.
Right.
But it seemed like now the game is so much faster that by the time you get there, you're probably already dead.
So this is an extremely smart meta call.
Yeah.
So think of the three decks that you're really expecting to see in the format. The first is Numemon. So what does Numemon do?
Plays a ton of
plays
bodies.
Digimon.
Yeah.
So let's kill them all. Yeah. Okay, so that's a really smart choice.
And then it's going to set up new Digimon for you to kill on your next turn.
And so that's very good. And what's the other strong deck you want to see? Leviamon.
Yeah.
Well, what does it do? Plays out a giant Digimon and let's kill it.
Yeah.
And so that's really strong by them. And it trashes a lot, setting up your Crimson mode and your secret rare Gallantmon. And so what's the third deck you expect to see? Red Hybrids. The player posted saying, I'm really glad I didn't play Red Hybrids at this tournament.
He didn't see it once.
He did not see it once. He posted his matchups for Triple Numemon, Blue Flare, Lugamon, and Leviamon twice.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what he wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's always fun to see new decks take the top.
And so I want to, from here, I do want to say it's an airtight list.
Yeah.
It takes all of the riffraff out of the deck. For those of you still leaning too hard into, okay, we'll go Growlmon into Growlmon X and then Wargrowl into Wargrowl X.
Yeah.
No. Takes that out.
Cool boys, all that stuff.
Yeah, it takes all that out, makes rooms for red memory boost and offense training.
And the Tamers in this deck have always been amazing for it.
Yeah, the EX2 Takato, just two of the setter Takato, because it's not as strong.
Being able to blitz with essentially any of your Digimon is really strong.
It's very good. Then that Crimson Blaze, and then setting up that DP minus or that add to your DP deletion effect Digimon instead of the draw. It's smart because we need to delete Digimon.
Big bodies.
And that, and also the interesting thing about the Secret Rare Gallantmon is it misses in between its DP threshold.
Yeah.
So it deletes 6K, if not delete a 13K or higher.
Which is a huge gap.
And so 7Ks were living. And so using this egg to get that up to that 7K threshold, delete, those Monzaimons is really good. And just a strong performance from a deck that many believe to be weak.
Yeah.
It just goes to show, again, this is a comfort pick, and it's a very smart medical. Yeah. And there's always room for those in Digimon.
For sure. So we got the first round of tournaments in the books. What's next? You got...
I'm in...
Is next up another regional or Ultimate
I'm
Cup?
in the next regional.
Okay.
And it is in April?
Coming up soon,
I think it's in April.
Yeah.
We have some new players at our local scene, and they were asking me like, "Hey, so what's up with online tournaments?"
Yeah,
and I was telling them like, "Okay, here's the good news: is that online tournaments are great. You play 9 rounds in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah,
you get prize support that is not given out to the locals,
exclusive,
which is cool. Here's the bad news: they're capped until like June.
Yeah,
and so." We'll see you in the BT17 format.
And I mean, but the good thing is, I mean, Bandai listened, and I mean, there's every year they've given, it's doubled, tripled exponentially as far as how many they're allowing to happen. So.
Yeah, they're getting better. So
it used to be like one every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I think the next one is in April, and I think that there's 2 in April.
Okay,
but I think I'm only signed up for 1. The next registration I know, so put it on your calendars, is March 31st.
There's more Ultimate Cups and stuff coming too, right?
I don't remember.
Oh.
I think they're in May and haven't been announced.
Ever since they made them the same format, they've really
blend together.
It's really true. Just prize difference,
which kind of makes me sad a little bit because
I know, you like that unique,
the unique format. Obviously, the monocolor was cool, and then it stuck around for too long.
Yeah.
And
it
then
got stale.
The limited format was cool and didn't stick around long enough. And then the most recent one was, pre-ban, which was
the limited
tough.
one was what? It was just
it was
like
tournaments.
RB1, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was RB1, BT14, and promos.
Yeah.
and it was a cool format.
Something different. Something different.
But now it's just open. Which
so where do you think we go from here? Do you think we've established a meta as far as the top 4 decks that you're just going to see over and over again in the next regionals? Or you think we're still
Definitely
in this?
It's obviously we have a better conception of, yes, Leviamon is incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Yes, Red Hybrids is still strong. Yes, Numemon is quite strong. But outside of that, I still think there's a lot of room for this meta to grow.
Yeah.
I think the Greymon top will get a lot of people opening their eyes back up to that strategy.
Yeah.
I think Melga hasn't been quite optimized yet. I think Melga will come back because a lot of these decks still do have a lot of on-deletion triggers that they need to resolve.
Yeah.
And I think bouncing and stunning is going to come back. Obviously, Red is looking quite strong with WarGreymon and Gallantmon.
So it's a healthy meta, which is great.
It's a healthy meta.
Which kind of leads into what I want to talk about next, because we're in this one for a minute, my friend. We will be in this meta for... I guess we have it here, so let's just jump into it. Because we talked about this a little bit earlier.
We are
back in January. We talked about just this rapid succession of sets. Boom, boom, boom. Are we going to feel wallet fatigue as a hobby?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Well, we've kind of rode those rapids, and now we're kind of in the cool, still waters of a nice long
still waters of the Double Typhoon format.
Yeah, which you didn't see at all, really, right?
No.
Yeah, didn't make any waves.
Although that deck is strong.
Okay.
I truly believe that.
Okay.
7K Rapidmon, and then can't be deleted, bounced or bottom deck, and then you threaten that Mega Gargo Ace. We're cooking something
Deck
up.
list coming soon.
Yeah, Jake Nito is cooking it up. I think he's got a strong list. We're working on it.
All right.
It's a contender.
Well, let's jump into this. We have a release list here, because I did want to talk about this, because we did get that announcement that by essentially a year and a couple weeks from now, April is when we're supposed to sync up of next year. So
with Japan.
Yeah, this is the roadmap for that. So taking some old strategies with some new strategies, and we're going to get there. But I kind of wanted to talk about these gaps we have, because right now we're in this long gap.
Day of recording, it's March 19th. You're watching this, it's the 23rd.
Yeah.
Or 22nd or something like that.
So we have essentially still 2 more months of this format.
Yeah. Yeah, all of April and most of May.
Yeah. So when I thought about May, I was like, oh, it has to be early May. But no, it's not. It's the 24th.
Yeah. Well, before we get down and dirty into the rest of this format, what is the Adventure Box 2024? Have we seen that reveal yet? What is in it?
I'd have to look. I don't think they've announced. It's probably BT. It has to be BT16 cards, so packs.
Right.
So, I mean, I got the adventure boxes over here. So
it was the Alt Art Boosts was the last one, wasn't it?
I think so. It was the last adventure boxes came out with RB1.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was the new promo.
Yeah.
So is that where we're getting those trainings?
Maybe.
Alt Arts,
maybe.
Or is that too soon?
Maybe. Well, there's 2 sets of training, so maybe one comes in the set, maybe the other one comes in the adventure box.
I digress.
We'll see.
So the 2 months left in this format.
Yeah.
So what does that really look like?
That's
Jesse?
16 more locals for us, my friend.
That is a lot of Digimon. I think the thing that's really going to come from this is, like I said, I think a return to memory floodgates.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a return to old strategies.
Yeah.
So I was talking with some people about. We were talking about purple.
Yeah.
And I've always got something to say about purple because I think it's the strongest color. I think it has been for a while. And so we were talking about Belphemon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he was like, "Well, what's stopping Belphemon from doing well at these tournaments?" And I was thinking like, "Well, we lost Eismon.
Yep.
But what have we got instead?" And so one of the lists that I was really happy to see top at Nationals was a Belphemon list playing Ukomon.
Yeah.
And so something that I used in the Ultimate Cup for the Apocalypse deck was the Ukomon into Gizmon AT, or AT, the level 4.
Yeah.
So it eats the Ukomon, draw 2, pitch 2, and then you get your Demimera effect. And I was like, damn, that is a really strong draw engine. And then you pair that with the Karada and the Astamon and all the normal stuff. And then so you go into Belphemon.
Sure.
You're unaffected by effects.
Mm-hmm.
And they try and eat you with Leviamon. No shot.
Yeah.
And then they try and swing 3 checks with their Leviamon. No. And I was like, that's pretty good. Yeah. They go into Numemon. They have a gigantic wide board. You go into sleep mode. Kill them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, damn, that is so interesting. And so I really think people are going to start looking back into old decks.
I think so too.
And I think they're going to be finding success with those decks.
Well, and they'll get benefited from it because one of the new cards it's one of the event packs. Yeah, is the sleep mode.
Yeah,
and I think it's around $70 right now.
Yeah. For you, I'd do 45.
I've
got one in my binder.
I'm okay on that. But it's one of those cards where every deck needs 4.
Well, and so. Speaking of cards in the event pack, I've been thinking a lot about Royal Knights.
Yeah.
I think Royal Knights is such a sleeper pick right now. Play cost floodgates are gone.
Yeah.
They're nowhere to be found. None of the top decks are reducing play cost.
Yep.
The only card you're playing play cost floodgates for is Death X, which, a lot of people play Death X. But man, Royal Knights with no Chikurimons running around, that is Christmas.
Do you know how much that Magnamon alt-art is up to now?
Oh, dude.
$80.
I think that's
as
more
of recording right now.
I think that's more for the Magna X.
Because people are getting ready for
rare
it.
that's coming.
Yeah.
But I seriously think Royal Knights is really strong in the format.
And there was a new Magnamon in the starter.
They go into their Leviamon X and you go into Craniumon. Yeah. Can't be deleted by effects.
It can attack with Alphamon.
Yeah,
you can lock it down.
Lock it down. I think there's a lot of creativity to be coming in the rest of this format.
Yeah.
And I mean, you really should not be surprised when you see certain decks topping in coming formats.
Yeah, and we have 2 months, so who knows?
Yeah,
we'll see it all.
I mean, I went back and forth, and I really considered bringing Bloomlord. I think Bloomlord has a really good shot in this format.
Yeah.
It has access to Pomumon, which is the best floodgate right now.
Yeah.
It has access to Quantumon. Put your Leviamon into security, gain immunity from deletion by Leviamon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See.
There's a lot to like about this format, and
well, we got 2 months to play in it.
You got 2 months to play in.
And then after that, we're sitting in that format for just a nice little soft month before we get our next EX set.
Yes.
And EX6 is Diaboromon, baby. We're ready for it. I'm printing proxies. I'm playing with these cards. I am excited.
Well, I do want to talk about the beginning observer format very briefly.
Kay.
Can someone please explain to me how Magnamon X, the secret rare, isn't the strongest card in the history of Digimon? I don't get it.
We'll see.
Why? Like, I haven't watched. I look ahead to Japan formats a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't understand what beats this card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where, like, you watch the card protagonist and it's a dramatization of that deck. But it's like, man, you Blinding Ray, gain 15k unsuspend, immunity to effects. Like, what do you do against this card? Because everyone's like, just raid into it, and I was like, there's like 3 good cards in the game that have raid.
People aren't rocking Marsmon.
Yeah,
right
like
now.
Marsmon tier 1, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
it'll be fun to play with. We have a sleeper agent in Japan now. Our buddy James is over there.
This is true,
and I've been picking his brain a little bit, and he said that. Demon Lords is a menace now.
Well, so I've heard the Demon Lord deck is quite strong.
Yeah.
And so I was talking with Jacob about it, and he's like, dude, they're playing a one of King Drasil as the egg.
Yeah.
And so because like people were saying, you could put Mother D Reaper as your egg in Royal Knights just for an extra source.
An extra source, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but then you have a 1 in 5 chance to lose the game instantly.
Slow you down by a turn.
By 2 turns.
2 turns, yeah.
Which is curtains.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
And so I was like, well, what happens if you flip first egg and it's not Heaven's Gate or Deadly Gate or whatever the
Gate of Seven Sins or
Seven Sinning Gate.
Yeah,
it's a gate of some kind.
Yeah.
So you flip King Drasil, and what happens? And he's like, well, at that point, you have 4 inheritables of the Heaven's Gate.
Yep.
And you just play 1-cost Demon Lords every turn.
It's pretty good.
And a lot of them have Rush.
Yeah.
So it's not the same way as the Royal Knight set or Royal Knight's deck where you go into Omni and then you get Rush.
Yeah.
They just have Rush.
And it doesn't eat them at the end of turn.
No, they die. And then you play them from the trash. So that's sort of the gimmick of the deck.
Yeah.
And so you're just playing out 1K or 1 cost Megas with Rush
and other abilities. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay.
And if you don't flip it, you just play the deck as per usual.
Yes.
Yeah.
It turns off a Gudamon.
Yeah.
Okay. Who cares? Yeah. Let me just play a 13K Rush Digimon for 1 when attacking, delete your board.
Yeah. Like, okay. So we have that to look forward to.
Yeah, that's
so let's jump back into this list. So we have a month of beginning of Zerber, and then we have
June,
and then we jump into the EX sets because the EX set's always a month after a normal set.
Yeah, and then June we have all of July, and then just the first week of August for that. And then we get Secret Crisis, which we're getting those alt art reveals now.
Right now, yeah.
They are.
Yeah, we'll talk about those. I want to talk about those when we get them all.
Yeah, we'll do that next week.
We should have them all by next week.
They look amazing.
They look great,
They look very good.
Yeah. So our summer looks like 16, EX6, and 17. So all the reveals we've gotten in the last month or so, that's going to be our summer playtime. When it's nice and sunny outside, that's what we're going to be doing in our
Then we
shop.
get Shumon and Pteramon.
This is when the darkness comes outside and in the Digimon world for me because I am not interested in any of those sets. I am not.
Well, we don't even know what EX7 is going to be.
We don't. I'm sure there's got to hopefully give us something good in other colors. Not a big
has to be.
I don't care about the green and the yellow. Give me something else.
Yeah, well, there'll be something.
So that's kind of the end of normal releases for us.
Yeah. So
in NA.
So people were talking about. So how are they going to merge us?
Yeah.
Are they going to slow Japan down? Or are they going to speed us up?
And they're speeding us up.
They're speeding us up. I think in a way that makes a little bit more sense.
Basil, we've already done this. Like you don't understand. You're not an original player. We've already done this, my friend.
I don't.
We have 1.0 and 1.5. And for collectors, all my collectors out there, you'll know this was a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah, well, so
you're trying to collect BT. If you're doing binders and you're going sequentially,
yeah.
Oh my god, dude, this was a nightmare.
So here's the good news.
Yeah,
for sure, Bandai has gotten better at this since then. They're 19 sets later.
They're not. Look at the stats.
So
look at this. They're mixing 19 in between 2 sets.
I'm not a collector.
Yeah,
I don't know. Here's what I do know is that
I'm gonna have holes and binders until February.
If there are 4 secret rares in Special Booster 2.0, 2 of them are going to suck.
It's going to be 3 in each because I got to split 6 secret rares between 2 boxes.
I'm saying if there's 4.
Oh, you're talking about in a box.
If, theoretically, if there's 4 secret rares in the set.
There's 6.
I'm just go with me
okay.
here. This is a hypothetical, Jesse.
I'm telling you how this already worked.
Just live in my nightmare world.
I'm in your nightmare.
In my nightmare world, in Special Booster 2.0, there's 4 secret rares.
Sure.
2 of them suck.
Yeah.
It's Shoutmon King version and Darkness Bagramon. Let's just say the equivalent.
Yeah.
If I open a box of Special Booster 2.0 and it costs 110 retail because it's 2 sets.
Yeah.
If I get 2 alt arts or an alt art and a secret rare in a box, no, don't do that. There's got to up the hit ratio in these sets.
On top of that, they're going to mix in some low pull rate cards, which they always do. So you're going to have 3 sets of low pull rate cards in 2 boxes. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be the price that we pay to get into to get aligned. But
it's gonna be Bloom Lord X Antibody.
Basil,
it's gonna be $700.
I don't think you understand. I'm gonna have holes in my binder for 3 months. That's gonna really.
You're gonna have to get. You're gonna have to get pre-release and Goromon X Antibody. It's gonna be a 20-cent card, and they're gonna send it to you in the next year.
Yeah,
who cares?
It's gonna be madness. I mean, the craziest part is that there's an EX set in between those.
Yes. So November, we have all of December in 2.0.
Yeah.
Then we have January directly into February 2.5.
What are we doing here? Okay.
That's gonna be tough.
That'll be very interesting. So guys, let us know in the comments what you think about this. Like, I know the overall sentiment, especially as far as like meta players and stuff goes, like this is going to be fun.
Yes.
We're going to get aligned.
It's going to be unique.
We'll be figuring out combos together as a whole Digimon worldwide community.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to figure out how to break the game together. We're going to figure out what's strong together. We're going to figure out what sucks
Reveals
together.
It'll
together.
Be cool.
It's going to be awesome. Let's just hope that they double up on their translators, because we don't need another
another EX3
or a Shu Wong Chan spring break event.
Oh yeah, they did that.
Yeah.
The errata pack.
Yeah.
Disaster.
Well, man, so that pretty much covers these sets. That's the roadmap that's going to get us to the big alignment, you know.
Yeah. And then
it's crazy. And then we boogie.
Then we boogie.
Yeah. Well, I think we should wrap it up and get to cards of the week, because we got stuff to do, man. We got some decks we want to film. I think we got a couple coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that. And
we got stuff cooking.
We got some stuff cooking. So we need to cook for a couple months. So we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to stretch our imaginations. By the time it gets to first week in May, I think you guys are gonna see some really cool content. So we're gonna have to come up with some really interesting ideas.
True,
for sure. So let's get to cards of the week.
All right, what do you got?
Oh, I'm going first.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to say two, because I have one that's really important and one that's an honorable mention, because I have been playing with Old Force a little bit, and the struggle in Old Force has always been what's the best removal in blue, because it sucks typically. But I'm just gonna say Full Metal Blaze. If you haven't looked at that card for this format, it's a lot of fun. I think that it is a honorable mention. It combats a lot of good stuff, or a lot of things that are happening in the meta right now.
Bottom deck a 6 or higher, bounce 2 4s.
Yeah, bounces 2 4s if they have 8 or more in hand. Yeah. Bottom deck a 6 or higher.
Yes.
So pretty good, especially for that Numemon matchup.
Yeah.
Nasty. But you already mentioned it. I think it's already been a card of the week. Hover Espimon for me. This was my goat this week. I played Machine locals. I got second. Right behind our buddy Josh, right?
Yeah, Josh. Shout out to Josh.
So, I got second with Machine, took it out, and kind of a last-minute decision based on kind of your results at regionals. I took out the Gallantmons, and I put in Hover Espies for that Leviamon matchup, and it worked out.
It's a monster.
It's a monster in that matchup, and it's just overall being able to evo for one, look at their security, do all the utility.
Such a versatile card. Yeah. Really big fan.
So
if you bought your playset of alt arts like this guy for $2 a piece,
you save $4 each. They're still $6.
No, they're higher. I think.
No, I got mine for 7. Yeah,
it's a good card.
Even hard playing it for 5. Essentially,
it's a good turn one.
You're probably gonna play it for 4.
Yeah, and if you reveal that rookie, you get a free swing off. That's good too.
It's good stuff. So
Hover Espimon. The Hover Espimon. Yeah.
What do you got, buddy?
So I had to pick a Machine Dramon card because I cannot express how great this tournament was for me.
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
I'm happy to hear that.
And I have to shout out Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon.
Okay.
That card is so awesome in Machine Dramon.
Your blitz for game.
It's so versatile because ever since Mulligan came out, I truly believe that having at least 2 kill spells in your deck is worth it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, it used to be, oh, I really don't want to play this. It's a brick, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, well, you mulligan it, whatever. You just have a higher chance of getting it in your security and not in your opening hand, which is quite nice. And really, just as strong as Deck's consistency have gotten in recent memory, there's just no reason not to. Except you don't have room for them.
Yeah.
And Machine Dramon is one of those decks where finding room for every last card is extremely tricky.
And it gets trickier by the set.
And it gets trickier every set. You know, we're already down to 14 level 5s.
Yeah.
You have to make room for 6 Tamers in my build now. You still want to play boosts and trainings and stuff like that. So it's like, damn, am I really going to go down another rookie?
Or down another cyborg?
Or down another cyborg. Yeah. I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But something I really made a strong and conscious decision to make was to put in 2 Attack of the Heavy Mobile in for this weekend. Yeah. And it did absolutely mad work this weekend.
Because it scratches a couple different itches.
Yeah,
it's your swing for game. It's your hybrid for game, kind of.
It's your hybrid for game. And it's your emergency kill something button. Yeah. Especially with that SR Mega Dramon. You attack the Heavy Mobile into the EX1 machine. You swing at something at 11, but then you de-digivolve it down to that 5, and now it's only 8 or 7K.
Maybe trash security on the way.
And then you get over it. You trash security. You delete a Tamer. You delete something that costs 5, whatever the case. Attack the Heavy Mobile was huge for me this weekend.
Nice.
And many games would not have been won without it. And the only thing bad I have to say about Attack of the Heavy Mobile is that it's not called Heavy Machine Digimon's Advance, which is how it's called on the Japanese localization of the game, which I think is quite fun.
It's cool. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you for joining me, Basil, as always. Stay tuned to the channel, guys. We have some nifty upgrades coming around if you haven't noticed. So stay tuned for those. There's more on the way, and we'll catch you guys next week.